Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CommQuest Hope Discovered podcast. My name is Bill. Whether your journey happens to be one of mental health, addiction, trauma, whatever it may be, what we like to say here is that recovery is possible. What that recovery may be for one individual versus another may be different, but the point that we really like to share is that a better life is possible. A lot of times we will have guests on this program share their personal journey, and sometimes we will have professionals from the recovery community come in and share what they do, and that's exactly what we have for you today. What we are going to talk about is our Supported Employment program. Our Supported Employment services provide assistance, education of subjects related to employment, and connections to local employers for those with a mental health diagnosis. We have two guests for you today. One is Phillip Paschal, and he is our employment specialist. Phillip, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
Absolutely. Also with us is Tonya Wilder, who is a supported employment specialist with the program. Tonya, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Tonya, I will start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your mission is here at CommQuest. What brought you here?
I have been working in mental health for about 11 years prior. And being that it was not in Stark County, opportunity came up where I was able to apply for a position here at CommQuest and did. And even though it was a different position, I was asked about supported employment and was offered the opportunity to interview. And once I was involved in the program, because obviously I was hired, I was involved in the program. Well, I am happy to be a part of the program because I enjoy what we're doing. And I learned a lot about helping others, as I also had a transition in life where I was also job searching, and it was all around the same time. So coming here, learning things that I did not know about interviewing, talking to employers, job searching, it was fun. Absolutely. And enjoyable to learn.
Yes.
And then I was able to project that onto my clients as well and support them.
That's wonderful. Phillip, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with working in this program.
Well, I'm originally from Dayton, spent 6 years in the military. And so I came to the Canton area in 2007 as a full-time pastor. And so one day while I was sitting in my office at the church, someone came to me and told me that the agency was looking for employees to work in their employment program. And so I gave it some thought and contacted the supervisor of the employment program, which at the time was Bernice Poor. And so I was hired part-time as a contractor. And so they currently had two full-time employees who later resigned. And so Bernice was in the process of hiring some full-time employees. And she asked me if I would consider it. I told her, well, no, I'm pastoring full-time and things like that. And so after a couple of days, I went back and told her that I would go ahead and accept it full-time. And so God opened that door, and I've been here ever since.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you. When people ask you, Phillip, I'll stay with you on this. When people ask you simply, what is the overall strategy or goal of a supported employment? What does it do?
Supported employment strives to link our clients to competitive employers. And so we help clients learn resume writing. We help clients learn interviewing techniques. We help clients obtain and maintain employment. And so we try to work with them on job getting and job keeping skills. And so our overall aim is to strive to get as many clients employed as possible.
Great. Tonya, do you want to add anything to that?
Pretty much the same thing. Just really developing those skills.
Sure.
Helping people to determine what they want to do.
Right.
And something that they'll enjoy doing.
Sure. What are some of the forms of the services that supported employment provides? You touched on some of them. I would say out of the ones that are most important, would it be resume writing, identifying barriers to employment? What are some of the most important things, Tonya, that you try to get across to your clients?
Resume writing is important. Presentation, being able to interview, being able to talk to an employer with confidence, knowing that this is the job that you want and this is the job that you're capable of doing. A lot of times clients may not even understand when they come to us that they have the abilities to do certain jobs. So we research with them. We'll talk about jobs. We'll visit in the community. We'll go out and just kind of walk in and through a place. Sometimes we'll see individuals that are working. And if our clients have that interest, then we'll approach a worker sometime, ask questions, strike up a conversation. But mainly it's just really engaging our clients in the community so that they'll understand opportunity that's out there.
Yeah. You brought up an excellent point with that community. A lot of times they may not even be aware of the skills that they have. They just have trouble connecting the dots. Phillip, let me switch to you on this. Helping somebody who's in recovery, has a certain amount of criteria, a certain amount of challenges. How do you help them connect the dots in terms of, they might feel that they're not capable and they don't realize that maybe they have really good writing skills, or they're just likable and they would be great as working in behind the counter somewhere. How do you help them connect the dots? That has to be one of the challenges, one of the real talents that you must have.
Well, we talk about strengths, weaknesses, barriers, and so we have a form that's called an initial job search form. And so on that form, it talks about what job would you like to have? What type of job and what type of employer and things of that. And so we explore a lot of opportunities, and discussing their barriers helps us to narrow down what they like to do.
Interesting. What would be, Phillip, I'll stay with you on this. What would be the ideal candidate for the program? And I know there's some eligibility requirements. For example, you have to be a Stark County resident. What are some of the other criteria that you have to follow to get someone in the program?
You have to be at least 18 years of age, have a diagnosis of major depression, schizophrenia, schizoaffective, or bipolar. Okay. And you have to be willing to work.
Yeah.
Have to be. Oftentimes, we get clients who think that we have jobs to give, and we explain to them, we help you obtain the skills. And a working phone number is always helpful.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, clients can also have a drug or alcohol diagnosis. However, if they don't have the mental health diagnosis that we mentioned, then they're not eligible for the program.
Okay, I understand. That's interesting. You mentioned about a working phone number. I hear this from a lot of employers throughout the community at large, that nobody answers the phone anymore. So that's just one of the things. I mean, if I had just applied for a job, I'd be making sure that I answered the phone as much as possible. I'm sure that's one of the things that you discuss. I'll toss this to both of you. How does someone enter the program? For example, CommQuest clients may ask their provider or counselor for a referral. What are some of the ways that people can get in the program?
Well, that is the process that they definitely would have to be linked up in services. And once the referral is made, then that is either assigned to myself or either Phillip. And that's how we engage with the clients then. Sure. But one of the things that Phillip had mentioned was about the working phone number, but also working with our clients is also very important for the paper applications to be legible. Mm-hmm. And so I do kind of stress that with my clients, that we have to make sure that employer can read that resume, because otherwise yours is just going to be slid over to the side and then moving to the next individual. And I've had clients that said that, oh, okay. And they're willing to work on that area, because those have been reasons why some had not been able to get jobs, because they may have been bypassed. Sure. But just referred.
Let me ask you both this, and Tonya, I'll stay with you on this. This is kind of an impromptu question. In years past, for example, with all that we do here at CommQuest with addiction and other things, and when an employer found out that a potential employee, someone who had applied for a job, had an addiction issue, that was a red flag for them. Same with mental health. But now that stigma is starting to change. And especially since there's so many employers out there that can't find reliable candidates to come in for a job. Tonya, have you noticed that stigma, that barrier has gotten any better in recent years?
Yes. Just since I've been here, it's 8 years or going on 8 years this year. And I've noticed a change. I think it's a great thing that we have so many people who are public figures, celebrities, who have came forward and acknowledged and said, I'm struggling with this. I have this going on in my life with depression and, so forth. So when we're dealing with employers and talking to our employers, I've had the opportunity to even have employers who have had those struggles, who've had challenges in life. And if a conversation is, because we also recognize that our clients' privacy should be respected. And some are very open about what they're dealing with, and then others are not. But when we're in the community and we're talking to employers, you want to strike up those relationships, because that help our clients when we're looking for a place for them to go to. We have those relationships established. So the employers sometimes understand. I had some challenges. I dealt with depression. I lost somebody. I experienced heartbreak or different things that went on. And if it wasn't them, it's somebody they knew. And so we want to be empathetic toward those needs in the community. It's not just them, it's us. And it changes the whole thing.
Well, one of the important pieces is disclosure. When we meet with employers, we do not disclose about a client's situation, but we always talk with our clients about their willingness to disclose that they may have a mental health diagnosis or substance abuse issue. And it's always been my experience that employers are more willing to work with an employee when they know that that employee has disclosed that they have a mental health issue, as opposed to not disclosing. Because I've seen situations where clients obtained employment, but then all of a sudden their symptoms began to flare up and they started missing work, but they had not disclosed to that employer. And so I would meet with the employer and the client, and then the employer would say, had I known, I could have done things differently. Yeah. So disclosure is very important.
Speaking of being assessed for the program, Phillip, what are some of the things that someone can expect when they come into the program or trying to come into the program and they're going to be assessed for the program? What can they expect?
Well, they can expect to be treated with dignity. They can expect one-on-one, the best services that we can apply. They can expect regular communication via letters, phone calls, in person. They can expect to have their interviewing techniques worked on. If they need assistance learning how to navigate the computer to complete applications, we help them with that. They can expect that we're going to meet with employers individually, as well as we're going to meet with employers with the client. You know, they can expect that if they have problems getting to work, we're going to arrange for them to be able to get to work. if they need assistance with proper attire. We talk about grooming. And so we're going to address things that are going to help them be able to help themselves.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Tonya, I'll throw to you on this to kind of tie things together. We often, here at CommQuest, I guess our slogan, that's probably not a good term, but kind of maybe the phrase that we often use is that hope happens here. So toward the end of this podcast, I always ask people to give a message of hope. And anybody who's been through, let's say, some sort of a journey regarding mental health or something similar, they can often get into this rut that everyone's going to think I'm a bad person and no one's ever going to want to hire me. My life is what it is. It's never going to get any better, but that's not true. What would be your message of hope to people in that position in the community at large when it comes to how you can actually get a job and make a better life for yourself?
When I'm talking to clients that have that mindset at that time, I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to tell them who they are as an individual and that they each have qualities. They each have skills, very unique. Any way that I can pump them up, if we're saying, I'm going to celebrate them. And I'm going to let them know, that we're here for them. Supported employment is here. CommQuest is here. The counselors, I love the collaboration. We have some wonderful counselors, caring counselors. Our staff, from the minute that they walk in the front door, there's an engagement even then. And I know my coworkers. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, know them that labor among you. I know some of my coworkers. So when individuals come into the building and they meet in the front, those faces that they're seeing up front, they're engaging to them and welcoming to them, knowing some of them, even getting to know them by name so that they can feel welcome when they come in here. And then we're here to walk them through the journey, to sit down and talk and listen. We listen because we want to hear their story. We want to hear what the challenges are that they're facing and why they think that they can't do something and how we can help them to do it. So if it means taking this slow and walking with them and discussing the barriers, as Phillip had already mentioned, then that's what we're going to work with them on.
Yeah. That's a great message because listening is so important. It can be something as someone like myself going to the doctor. And when you have a doctor who's just listening to your symptoms and they're going to write you a prescription and move on to the next, you don't feel like that person's listening to you. And you feel so much more cared for when they really make it about you and what you need. Phillip, I'm sure you want to follow up on that.
Well, not only do we have great counselors, we have great case managers. Mm-hmm. And so we often meet with the case managers. We work in the same suite with them, with a lot of them. We meet with the counselors. And so, like Tonya said, we try to encourage them. And one thing we do is try to tell them, you don't have to be what others say you are. And so we're non-judgmental. We try to encourage them. As a matter of fact, we try to encourage them by keeping their appointments with their counselor, if they have a counselor, case manager, if they're on medication, to take their medication as prescribed. And so we try to just get them to see this, to give us an opportunity to help them, because sometimes they feel defeated. And we often tell them, you're not in this by yourself. We're here to work with you, and we encourage you to work with us. And I often tell clients that their success depends on how they engage in the program.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's true of so many things in life. I mean, what you get out of something is what you put into it. I want to thank you both so much. We've been talking to Phillip Paschal, employment specialist, and Tonya Wilder, Supported Employment Specialist here at CommQuest. Thank you so much for what you do, most importantly, because what you do is I know it can be difficult some days, but it comes with rewards. And we talk so much about working for a nonprofit without going through the economics of it. People are here because they want to be. This is a mission that you take on because you want to be here. And we are so grateful to have a staff like you guys who do this work. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for coming on our podcast and sharing what you do.
And I'm glad Phillip brought up our case managers here, as well as our nursing staff, because our case managers are awesome. And they really work and engage with us when it comes to our clients. Absolutely. And that helps us.
Absolutely.
Your team.
We have a great team here at CommQuest. We really do. And that's one of the things about a culture of a nonprofit, especially one that has the pillars that we do, which is mental health, addiction, and social outreach. People want the mission to be successful because they care about the community. And here again, thank you both so much for sharing all this information and your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. If you would like more information about what we've discussed on today's podcast, along with anything about what we do here at CommQuest, I would direct you to CommQuest.org. That's CommQuest.org. CommQuest.org. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast today. And until next time, thank you very much for listening and have a great week.